Like it's What's up, everybody? Rob, how you doing, man?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited for a great episode.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So, as we get started here, I'll let you tell everybody, who you are and what you're doing, but and then we'll get into it. But why don't we start there? Why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you're doing now, and then we'll go backwards and we'll kind of do a progression.
Perfect. Sounds fantastic. So I'm Rob Rene, and I'm the CEO of a company called Exodus Strong, and really just the last 5 or 6 years dedicated my life to faith and health. So I call myself a faith and health warrior because I really am passionate about people and helping them with their health. And then I'm a very faithful person, so I like to address the faith component of that as well. So I think the whole mind, body, spirit connection thing is super important to me, and I like to evangelize that topic and conversation. And man, I'm just super passionate about being healthy because our world is not a healthy world, and it's just amazing to see how bad we as Americans are treating this temple that God has given us. It's pretty crazy.
I'm obsessed with health. It's one of the things that I'm obsessed with and have been for a while for my own personal reasons, but I'm really excited to see. I love talking to other people about health because I love seeing what they know that I don't know.
Yeah.
And sharing what they're doing, like whether it's just a morning routine or something they're taking that I'm not, or doing that I'm not. And, you can learn so much and gain so much just from those small conversations. So I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think God shaped me this way, right? It's like I look back at my entire life, and He's like, okay, I'm gonna teach you this, I'm gonna teach you that, and I'm gonna teach you this. And then all of a sudden I look back on it, I'm like, man, that's amazing. I would have never have designed it that way, but hey,
yeah,
he did it. So it's
okay,
really interesting.
That's interesting. So why don't we start at the beginning? Here we have a tradition where we talk to everybody about, tell us about your early years, where you grew up, family life, and kind of walk us through your journey. And then we can kind of see, how you ended up where you're at, and then we'll get into Exodus and what's going on.
Yeah, perfect. So I have a really interesting background in respect that, I grew up in the middle class and had a wonderful family. So I was really blessed from that perspective. I had a mom and dad that didn't ever get divorced, and had a really blessed life. I was the baby of the family. I had two older brothers, the one that was 4 years older than me and the one that was 7. So I always got my butt kicked. So
nothing wrong with that. A little butt kicking once in a while.
But I ended up being pretty darn tough because I knew how to protect myself. So, but one of the things, my middle brother ended up doing some running, and that's became a passion of mine. He was of my earliest indication that I thought running would be good for me. My mom took me out. I was in maybe 10 years old, and we went to one of those fun runs on the weekend that people do. My brother was running a 10K, and I was with my mom, and I saw this other little boy warming up. He had the singlet on and nice running shoes and shorts, and he was, my age. I'm like, wow, that I didn't know, people my age could run this. And so I asked my mom, I said, hey, do you think I can do this? And she's like, you're in jeans and shirt and no running shoes. I'm like, I don't care. So I ended up running that 10K, and I beat that young boy that I saw warming up. And I was like, hey, that maybe there's something to this. And so that's when I realized that I had a running gene in my body, and really started training and running. And my brother, since he was 4 years ahead of me, he always taught me what he was learning, right? He was in high school and stuff like that, and then college, and he would always impart his knowledge on me. And so I was way ahead of the people my age from just I think maturity perspective and God-given talent. And so running just became a passion. I won a national championship when I was young in middle school. And I was like, wow, I might be pretty good at this. So that became my goal in life, was to be a professional runner. I ended up getting a full ride running scholarship to a Division I school. And then I made the U.S. junior team, which was pretty cool. So it was like the 19 years and younger, I was the second fastest miler in the country.
Wow.
And on that, then we went on an international tour, and I ended up winning one of the races. I beat the best milers from 5 different countries, including the boy that had beaten me. So I was just like on top of the world. I'm like, okay, in the next couple of years, I'm going to be in the Olympics, and I'm going to be a miler, and I'm going to be a professional runner. And then this is a big part of my story. Is I was out in the winter in Utah doing a 10-mile training run, and I ended up getting hit by a truck. So a 4x4 truck was coming, and it in the icy, snowy roads, and it slid right into me and hit me in my hip and threw me 36 feet. And I landed straight on my face and was knocked unconscious on the side of the road. So I'm really, really blessed to be alive because of that event. My throat clogged up because of I had a bloody nose early in the run, so my throat was clogged, so I couldn't breathe. I'm unconscious. And you can't survive without oxygen that for very long. And my friend, thank goodness, he knew that I was struggling and unclogged my throat and saved my life that day. So ever since then, I have been looking back on my life going, I have a plan. There's a purpose for my life. I don't have a plan, but I know that God has a plan. Mm-hmm. And then there is a purpose for my life. And I never knew what it was. But I did what the world told me to do. The world says, hey, you go to school, you get a college degree, you go get a nice job at a big company, and you buy the house with a white picket fence, and you have 3 kids, and you do what the world tells you. That's what I did anyway. I did what the world told me to do. And then about 20 years into my career, I call it the second truck. The second truck that hit me was the same truck that hit everybody. It was the pandemic. And when that pandemic hit, it had a really similar effect on my life. In respect, that first truck hit me. I was on a path, right? I was super successful. I was going where I wanted to go. And then boom, all of a sudden, immediately, everything just flipped on its head. And I no longer can run. I can no longer do what my goal in life was. And it became really tough. This second truck, the pandemic, hit me in a similar way. I lost my sales job. I was like, because I couldn't travel anymore because of the pandemic. And then I started doing research on what was happening in the world, right? I wanted to protect my family from COVID, right? Everybody did. And I went back to my early days of running because I'd learned how much nutrition was so important to my running. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the big, I think, key factors in my running success is that I knew how to fuel my body appropriately, and my competition didn't. They'd be out eating hot dogs and hamburgers and just crap before races and even preparing for a race. And I always had a good finish. I always had a good kick because I knew how to fuel my body really, really well. And so I would, when pandemic hit, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back and look at what's going on in the world and how can I help my family be safe. And I started doing research, and man, that research just woke me up in a huge way to a lot of the corruption that's going on in our world. And that frustrated the heck out of me. So that's why I kind of compare it to that first truck, and that I was really depressed for years after that accident. And then when the pandemic hit, when I realized, did all that research about what's going on with health, in fact, one of the defining moments for me was this doctor was recommending vitamin D. And I know that vitamin D is, from the sun, right? It's God created thing. And vitamin D is very, very helpful for the body. So I'm like, why are they vilifying this doctor? I said, he must be a horrible doctor. He must have stuff underneath the covers that are really bad. So I started researching this doctor, and he was amazing. He was a really great all natural health doctor. And I was like, okay, what's wrong with vitamin D? Why, do I just don't know about vitamin D? And I researched vitamin D, and vitamin D is very helpful to the body. So I was like, why are they vilifying him? There must be a reason why. And that's when I, just started uncovering the corruption in our medical system. It's not the fault of doctors and nurses and stuff, but it's just our medical system is really, really messed up. And big pharma has taken over our health world. And that's what I've dedicated my last 6 years of my life to, is just how can I help people live naturally and faithfully, the way God intended us to live. And it's just been a super blessing, because I really believe that that's why I'm now, if I look back on my life,
Mm-hmm.
that's why he put me on this earth. He put me on this earth to learn how to fuel my body and understand nutrition. And I got hit by that truck, and okay, I went into the sales career. I worked for large corporations selling large enterprise software, and I can communicate with large groups of people. And then boom, that ended. And he's like, okay, I want you to learn about health. I want you to learn about what's going on in the world, and I want you to be an evangelist for me and for people's bodies and the temple that he's given us, and how to treat it. So it's been
Let
a
me ask
blast.
you a question for a second.
Yeah,
So we went over a lot of stuff there real
of
quick.
course.
Okay, so
Sorry. Once I get going,
no,
can't
you're good.
stop.
It's good. I want to go back to something because you glossed over this like it was no big deal. So you're running in Utah.
Yeah.
And I had envisioned you being on like some trail and somebody on a four-wheeler ran you over. You didn't see him coming. You could hear him. And all of a sudden, it sounded like you're running down a road
I
and
was.
somebody clipped you. And then you said you had a friend. So you weren't by yourself.
Yeah,
Walk
my
me
buddy.
through first, like what happened, and then walk me through, because what I think is a major deal is people are going to listen to this. Everybody has something major happen in their life, good, bad, both.
Yep.
And like, what did it take to move past that? What injuries did you sustain? How long did it take you to get past it? And how did you do it? So let's walk through
Sounds
that
good.
again.
Sounds good. So yeah,
All
that
right.
was a major deal, right? Literally, when it was out on the back country road, so it was out, it wasn't in the city; it was out in the back country. So we were running. There wasn't really sidewalks on the side, so we're running on the side of the road, and then and it was all ice covered, right? It's all snow covered, so there was no dividing line, and you couldn't see where things were. And there was a little clear path in the road that me and my friend, we were running single file on this street. He was running behind me, and I just started moving out to that clearing so I could have footing, right? And as we were moving out to there, all of a sudden I heard him yell my name, and I turned around, and he just said, truck or something, or car or something. I turned around. I didn't have enough time to move. I mean, it was like I just saw it. I was like, I'm gonna get hit. I'm gonna get hit. And this truck had literally slid right into me and hit me in the hip, and threw me. And when I landed, literally this whole side of my face became road rash. It was just like just cut open, and a really large cuts, and stuff went through my whole face. Holes in my face, and I broke my pelvis in multiple places because of the impact. And then I landed first on my face and then my knees. So my knees were impacted. I broke cartilage in my knee. And I'm laying on the side of the road, unconscious, right? And not able to move. I remember my friend, I was laying there, and the only thing he could do, he was talking to me, asking me if I was okay, and I could squeeze his hand. That's the only physical thing I could do. And so he's like, oh my gosh, he's alive, right? So he knew I was alive, and then he started assessing me. He's like, oh my gosh, he's not breathing. Why is he not breathing? And then he knew earlier in the run we were gonna turn back because I had this bloody nose, and he's like, oh my gosh, his blood is clogging his throat. So he, thank God he reached in and unclogged my throat. So that process was daunting, and the recovery process was daunting. It took me months to physically recover. I had an operation on my knee, and my pelvis was, I was really lucky where it broke. I broke my pelvis in two different places, and one of them is those little round clips at the bottom of your pelvis. And if I would have broken it like a quarter of an inch over, I would have been in a body cast for 6 months. And that would have been devastating. So I was real lucky that I didn't have to do that. But man, I remember one of the most devastating aspects of that for me mentally was the second day in the hospital. I'm laying in the hospital, and I asked the nurse for a mirror, and I took the mirror, and I just immediately started bawling. It's hard for me not to do it when I talk about it, because it was the lowest point in my life at that point. Because this whole side of my face was and no disrespect to people who have
Yeah.
deformations in their face or problems with their bodies, but my face was so big and so disfigured that I really felt like I looked like the Elephant Man, and I love that show because the guy's such an amazing man. But I just looked at that and was like, oh my god, no one's gonna love me. I'm gonna look like this for the rest of my life. And I at that moment I just felt my life was over. Right? It's like this is horrible. And yeah, that
You-
recovery process took me a long time mentally and physically to get over that particular problem.
So you've mentioned, when we first started talking, you talked about faith.
Yeah.
And when you go through something like that, I'm curious to know if you already had a strong faith growing up, or if this was something you found through this experience, or not yet later in life. Like, was that, and how did that tie into your process of overcoming the adversity with this?
Yeah, it was a good portion of it. I had grown up as a Episcopalian, so we went to church. But my mom used to joke because I was like, "Man, you won't know what mom was." So it's like, after church we get done, she goes, "What?" And she says, "It's the best feeling getting out of church because it
Yeah,
was so
sure.
it was so boring, right? It was just like,
Yeah.
oh my god, all these rituals, and it's just like
Yeah.
I really didn't like church when I was young. And then I became more of a creaster, right? I'd go to church on Christmas and Easter, and I would go on Sundays, but I was a type of Christian at that point where as soon as I left the building, I didn't think about church until next Sunday when I went to church. And it wasn't part of my life. It didn't become who I was. And even after this accident, I became more faithful. I prayed a lot more, and I started going to church every Sunday. So I think that was the beginning of my transformation from my faith perspective. But it wasn't until the pandemic hit to where when I had time to, because like I was telling you earlier, I was just doing what the world was telling me to do, and I was super busy. I had a good career. I'd loved sports. I'd watch sports at night. I'd play video games because video games were all of a sudden cool. So I'd played Call of Duty and all these games, and I just spent so much time doing. And I was married, right? I had a wonderful family. I had kids. I was raising them. I love my children, and I was just busy, 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 doing the things that the world was telling me to do, and I wasn't spending any time with my faith and with my Savior. And so, um, when the pandemic hit, my whole life just like stopped. And then
Hmm.
I started doing research, and part of that research was the Bible. And so I really dug into the Bible. I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing is so amazing. It's like a living word. It's like when you're reading the Bible, he talks to you,
It's pretty
right?
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's the most incredible transformation for me was to feel that and to go through that and to say, oh my gosh, I actually have a relationship with the person who created me, and he's with me, and he can help me. And so that just transformed my entire life. I'm like, and then I've used that process to just say, what do you want me to learn? Right? What are you trying to teach me? Where do you want me to go? What steps do you want to, what doors are you going to open? Which doors are you going to close? And he just kept opening door after door after door, and it became related to faith and health. It was all related to faith and all related to health. He's like, I want you to go research what happened in the early 1900s with the medical systems, and how the Rockefellers took over our medical schools, and how they started doing just a pill for an ill society versus solving root cause problems. And when I researched all that, I was just mad as heck because I was like, this is ridiculous. I've been deceived. I was 50 years old at the time. I was like, I've been deceived 50 years of my life. And it just made me mad. I was like, we live in the United States of America, the land of the free, right? The land of the open. And what I realize is our information is controlled just as bad or worse than other countries. And that really
Yeah.
frustrated me too, because I love our country, right? I wanted to be an Olympic athlete. I wanted to represent the United States of America. And so that really frustrated me too. So anyway.
Okay, so you get back on track, you get a sales job. What were you selling? What were
Yeah,
you
I was selling
selling?
enterprise software. So
Okay.
yeah.
So you're selling software, things are going great. 2020 hits, which affected everybody differently, but in a major way.
True.
And I, before that, had already been on this health kick that you're talking about.
Okay, cool. Good for you. You're smarter than I was.
Well, no, it just, I had an experience sooner than that, right?
Right.
My sister got breast cancer, and I started doing research and to help her. And through that, I started to learn way more than I thought I was healthy, and I realized I wasn't, and went down kind of the same rabbit hole you did.
Yeah.
So, but it's just such an interesting journey. So you find this out, and you also, it sounds like, started to have a real relationship with God.
Exactly.
Where it was, okay, I've got to start talking to God more frequently and having an actual relationship than just being the person that shows up on Sunday, if that, and then that's how I'm a participant. And so, and I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a transformation. It's so different than what I thought it was, right? It was
Yeah.
like, wow, I thought religion was going to a building and you listen to a pastor, and I didn't realize I can have a direct relationship with the Creator. It was like, wow, it's such
So when
a
you did that, you started saying, okay, I'm wondering how this happened. So you start finding out stuff that was shocking you, apparently, right?
Yes.
And you're like,
sure.
oh my gosh. And then was it like you felt this overwhelming desire to say, I have to start getting this out because people don't know, which people still don't know. I think it's an epidemic. The good news is we have someone in starting to, people are starting to wake up. I think COVID really shook
little by little,
a little bit. But we also have somebody, I think, that's on the same page in the new administration that I think will help, right?
Amen.
RFK is who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So walk me through, because I feel like, okay, I knew a lot of stuff, but I didn't feel like, okay, this is my new career. I've got to go out and spread the word.
Right.
And so what was it that happened to you that did that? And how did you choose the avenue you went? Like, I think you're talking herbal. I want to know what you're doing now and how you chose that direction in that specific area.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it literally became a passion of mine to help people with health, right? And so I was going to craft supplements. I was like, okay, I'm going to go find these, vitamin D. I'm going to go, make this a great thing because I knew how good it was. But then I just started, as I was reading the Bible, I'm like, hey, there's a lot of herbs and superfoods that are mentioned in the Bible, and I just kept, I think he was leading me, and I was passionate about that topic. So I started researching all the things within the Bible about health, right? About healing, and about just what they were, what's in there. And so it was really fun because I came up with 20 plus things in the Bible that are mentioned, that even if it's just mentioned once, right? I was researching that particular topic, and I came up with these amazing ingredients, and I was like, how can I craft something that's different, right? That maybe it's a combination no one's ever tried before that's really going to help people in a dramatic way. Because I wasn't interested in just selling stuff to sell stuff, to say, okay, but buy barley grass and it's going to really help you, because barley, all those ingredients are out in the marketplace in some way or another, in and of them by themselves. I'm like, maybe there's a combination, maybe there's something that's different that I'm missing. And I started doing research on energy, right, and how our body is made up of energy and how frequencies are involved in our world. And that was really intriguing to me, in an area that I'd never experienced or understood before. And so I just knew there was something different. And then what happened is the Lord led me to this practitioner who had been working on this molecular hydrogen component. And hydrogen, right, is the base element that God created. Like, it's the smallest element in the world, in existence. And I was like, well, hydrogen, what does hydrogen do? So I started doing research on what hydrogen does to the body. And it's like, wow, it's like so transformational in the body. How can we get hydrogen inside the body? And this practitioner, he was an answer to my prayers, because I was doing all the research on the biblical components. And I said, I need something that's really special, something that just really makes a big difference in people's lives. And then he's like, I've got this molecular hydrogen component. And we were researching that, and like, oh my gosh, it helps with inflammation reduction. AKA helps with people that have, inflammation usually causes is a source of pain. So people, it reduces inflammation. Oh my gosh, it helps with energy levels. And what it does, the molecular hydrogen inside your bloodstream acts as a selective antioxidant. And it's so cool because when it gets in the little micro nano bubbles get in your bloodstream, it goes and helps your mitochondrial process work more efficiently. But even secondarily, it attaches itself to the bad stuff, the free radicals that are in your bloodstream, and removes them. So it gets rid of the crap in your bloodstream and makes your blood work better. And so what we did is I went and said, let's find the best biblical ingredients that complement what the hydrogen does. And then we can come up with something that no one has ever come up with before, and it's going to amplify the benefits of the molecular hydrogen, and the hydrogen is going to amplify the benefits of the biblical ingredients. And we put this together and we created Exodus, and it's just so transformational because we've got 7 biblical herbs. We've got organic barley grass, organic wheatgrass, which give you the nutrients that most people are missing. Our food supply is so messed up that they're not getting the right nutrients they need. So you've got the nutrients with organic barley grass and wheatgrass. It's got saffron. Saffron is the most expensive element on earth. It's like really super expensive, but saffron helps with stress reduction and just mood and calming. And then has aloe. Aloe's got hundreds of health benefits, and got cumin and frankincense and myrrh. And those are really helpful for inflammation reduction. So you take that and you combine then what molecular hydrogen does, and it's just phenomenal. It's just such an amazing product that it's like, this is my life mission, is to get this product out to people, not because I want to grow a company and be successful. It's because I want to help people. And this product does help people, and they just don't know about it yet. So that's my biggest problem, is I have an amazing product, but no one knows I have it.
Yeah.
And I'm just super passionate about getting it out to the world.
One of the things that I talk to a lot of people about is, so I'm big into getting blood tests regularly, seeing what you're deficient in so you know what you need, right?
Yeah.
I take drinks, green drinks, red drinks. I've got it all.
Yeah.
I also take something, I'm interested to hear your take. So let's stay on the hydrogen for a second. So, they had 2 things that have come out recently in the last year, is those hydrogen bottles where you can, and then I also have something called H2 tab. Have you ever heard of that? I take those. Now, how does that compare to what you do? Is it the same or different way you take it? Like, what? Talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad that you mentioned this, because it's so fun that now hydrogen has become a thing, right? Hydrogen is like, wow, people are starting to understand it. And it's really neat. You can go to hydrogenstudies.com and molecularhydrogenstudies.com, and you can see there's thousands of scientific reports that studies have been done on hydrogen. So it's just in and of itself amazing. So I also bought the water bottle with hydrogen because I'm like, let me check this thing out. But the neat thing and how our product differentiates, which is quite dramatic, is our capsules. So it's just literally a supplement, right? It's got capsules. When you take the capsules, it goes inside your stomach. And then inside your stomach, these little capsules just they melt inside your stomach, and it's got a magnesium blend that's patented, that when it interacts with your stomach fluid, the reaction creates the hydrogen.
Gotcha.
So your body's creating the hydrogen, so your body assimilates the hydrogen in much higher doses than if you're taking it, either inhalating it. They have these things where you inhale the hydrogen, or you take the water tablets, and like the H2 tablets that you put in water, and it creates hydrogen. The thing that's funny about those is if it dissipates quick. So if you don't immediately drink that hydrogen water, it's going to be almost of no use. And most people just don't guzzle the water right away, right? And then by the time you take the water and you put it down your esophagus and it gets in your stomach, and then your body assimilates it, it's diffusing the whole time it's doing that. So our product is, in my opinion, is more beneficial because your body creates it, and since your body's creating it, your body assimilates it much, much better. So it's really differentiated. Then you take the benefits of the biblical ingredients, and those enhance what the molecular hydrogen does. So the combination of the two is just unparalleled. Really exciting.
Really interesting. So, you mentioned 20 ingredients from the Bible, and I never really
Right.
thought about it. I think it's a really interesting take. I heard the frankincense and myrrh, and I think a lot of people are aware of that. I'm in my head, I'm like, what are the other things from the Bible? But it sounds like you've combined most of the things that are in there, and you've kind of combined them and come up with your own supplement. Is that essentially what it
That's
is?
right. That's right. And
Okay.
we may create others because there are a bunch of other ingredients that are mentioned in the Bible that are beneficial, right? There's cinnamon, there's hyssop, there's lots of different ingredients, mustard seed, right? And mustard, there's lots of things in the Bible that we didn't put in this, but they weren't synergistic to what the hydrogen does. And that was our goal, is like, let's amplify the benefits of hydrogen and give somebody a single set of capsules. We recommend you take 2 capsules, but when you take those 2 capsules, you get the nutrients you need for the day, and then it gives you sustained energy. So in fact, one of the big problems I had is I have a heart condition called bradycardia. So my heart beats really slow. So my heartbeat is in the 30s, and so when I
Wow.
get my blood, go get my blood work done, they put the little monitor on my finger, and they're like, man, this monitor must be broke.
Yeah,
They're
right.
like, they keep hitting it. They're like,
Yeah.
something's going on with this monitor, and I'm like, no, 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 it's okay, because I've got a heart condition. And so, but the problem with that heart condition is about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I would just get exhausted because I'm just not getting enough oxygen, right? That the normal person does. And so I would just crash about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I was like, boom, I got to go take a nap. And that was really frustrating. I'm like, come on, I'm in my 50s. I don't need to be taking naps, right? I'm not an old
Yeah.
fogey yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was really frustrating to me. And then I use this molecular hydrogen, and I don't need those anymore. It's just I get sustained energy throughout the day. It's so awesome. And my brother is a minister, and he's got an online church and stuff that he does, and he would have his alone time with God, right? He's like literally praying and researching, and he would fall asleep. And he's like, that's so bad. He goes, I don't want to be like having alone time with God and I'm praying and then I fall asleep. Like, that's just the counter, exactly the opposite of what I want to
Right.
do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but so he started using the product, and he's like, this is amazing. I don't have that same exhaustion that I felt, and I don't fall asleep anymore in my alone time, and it's just interactive. I'm learning so much more and having so much more fun. And so it's really fun because he's my partner in this business, and we have the most amazing stories of this product because it helps people in such a dramatic way that and we're both huge beneficiaries of the product, that we have to get this out to the world. I'm so excited because I literally just got this morning, our first commercial done by an athlete who is a really, really well-known athlete. And by the time this airs, I'll be able to talk about it. So
Oh, that's super cool.
yeah, it's really fun. So
What did you do? So when you were researching, was there anything else, like you have this supplement, right?
yep.
And now not all the rage, but like I think through my research, I've noticed that there's multiple things people have to do to stay healthy.
Right.
Obviously, if people go out and take this supplement, that's great. There's a lot of other things they have to do.
Yes.
So my question to you is, you're selling this supplement. What
Yep.
else are you telling people to do? Is this your thing? Like, hey, this is the supplement, and then how do you incorporate that with everything else you do? Or what are you telling people? How are you helping them besides the supplement? What are you
Yeah,
doing?
that's an awesome, awesome segue, and I couldn't have asked you to do it even better. But one of the most important pieces is this thing. It's like the Fatigue to Fatality Prayer Guide. So it's literally every bottle that we sell, we have a prayer guide with it, because we want you to say an intention, and we want you to say a Bible verse, and we want you to say a prayer. And you're literally going to declare those with the mouth, right? There's power in the tongue. The Bible specifically tells us that. So you have to declare these things out loud, and you're using your eyes to read it, your mouth to declare it, your ears to hear yourself read it. You take the capsule, so you're getting the internal component. You're getting 4 out of your 5 God-given senses to help you with your problem or with your health in general. And so that's really impactful. Our mission is to get 1 million new people to read the word, aka what we're doing here, that haven't been doing it. And so we even have a really awesome prayer. It's actually a study guide behind all of these verses that go through a whole study on what does that Bible verse mean, right? What was the context of that Bible verse? Why is it even in there? So we're getting people intrigued about the word. It's like, oh, hey, that's an interesting verse. I hadn't heard of that. What does that really mean? What did it mean back then? And then what does it mean today? Right? So that's really, really important. But I think what you said is so spot on, that there is so much more to health that people need to do. And I always love to evangelize 4 or 5 different things that are free, that everybody can do, that you should be doing. And one of them is that first thing we talked about, vitamin D, right? You need to get your body and your eyes out in the sun. And the first 45 minutes of the day, it's called blue light. And that blue light is so healthy for your body. You can literally be out in the sun and get the direct sunlight, and it just powers your body, which is really impactful. The second one is grounding. This is the one my wife loves to talk about, because, or she loves for me to talk about, because I thought she was nuts when she told me. I'm like, I have really sensitive feet. I don't want to take my shoes off. I don't want my feet on the ground. And then I started learning the benefits of grounding, and man, it just recharges your entire body. Your body is made up of energy, like I was telling you earlier. And when it discharges the bad energy and gives you good energy from the earth. And I thought that was really impactful. And it's 100% free. I can sell you a $5,000 grounding mat that you can sit on during the day when you're working. But man, it's the same exact thing if you just take your socks and shoes off and you go put your feet on the grass. So do that, save yourself $5,000 and go do it. So that's another one, right? Breathing techniques are so important, because people aren't like myself. I'm not getting enough oxygen in my body. So I have to be really diligent about doing breathing techniques to push air out and get air in. And Wim Hof's got some amazing breathing techniques. And you can do all those things for free, right? So you get sun for free, you get grounded for free, you do breathing techniques for free, and hydration is maybe not free if you're going to get filtered water, because I recommend filtered water, right? But at the same point, water is basically free. And if you get good filtered water, just most people are dehydrated. So go get some hydration, because that is super important. So we literally put together this whole fatigue to vitality system. It's a checklist, right? We go through the checklist. We give you a guidebook of what to do. We recommend you take our supplement. We have that daily prayer guide. We have the Bible study plan. And then we have a community of people that are all interested in health, who are trying to help each other. So, hey, I'm taking this supplement. Was this help for this? Or, hey, I've now got, my feet are numb. What should I do with my feet? Right. And we have a community of people that are really trying to help each other be healthy. And it's a lot of fun, because I'm super passionate about it. And I'm so excited. The celebrity that did our commercial is Terrell Owens. So do you know T.O.?
Yeah, I do.
So, Mr. Energy, right, is now going to be doing a commercial on Exodus. And it's so cool, because it's going to really expose us to a whole different community of people, and just over the moon excited about getting this product out to the world, because it's not literally, it's helpful. It really does help people. And we want to create this organization that really surrounds people. That, hey, if you're alone out there and you're struggling with your health, Exodus is a great foundational product. In fact, we have this one health practitioner who does genetic work, right? Makeup on people. She's like, okay, we'll do your genetic makeup, and then I'm going to pinpoint the right nutrients for you because of how your body processes things. She uses Exodus as the foundation. So everybody, it's like the best product she's ever muscle tested for anybody. And she says it helps everybody. So she starts with Exodus. So start taking Exodus, and then we're going to start looking at your genetic makeup, and then we're going to find the other things and other areas in your body where your body doesn't process them, and we're going to help your body be better through it. So it's just think time after time we're getting so much positive validation that this is the right thing to do, that I'm just putting everything I own and everything I'm doing is I want to help people's faith. I want to get them reading the word, and but I want to go get to them through their health, right? I'm going to give you this amazing product. You don't have to read the word if you want to use this product, right? This product's going to help you in a very dramatic way. So take it and start taking it. And then guess what? Over 30, 40-day period, your blood's going to recycle, and you're going to just start feeling better. In my opinion, it's my opinion. It's just a really foundational product's going to improve people's health, and they're going to get the nutrients they need. They don't need to do a green shake. They don't need to do all these other things. They can do one thing instead of 5. So
love it.
A lot of fun.
That's great. Is there anything else that you think people need to know from a health perspective, and also anything about Exodus? I want to make sure that they know where to go and that kind of thing. And we'll talk about that in a second, but anything else you think that people ought to know from a general health perspective, if they're just getting started? They're like, wow, okay, I'm interested in this, or I'm not. Like, where should they start, and anything else they need to know?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is nutrition, right? That literally God created everything on this earth for us to survive and thrive. And not just to survive, but really to thrive. And if you take the elements that in the Bible and you utilize those elements, he made this incredible complex body, right? The scientists are still trying to figure it out, right? And we have amazing scientists, and there's so much that we still don't know about the body. But one thing we do know is it's built to heal itself. So if you can start giving the body what it needs, then your body can start operating the way it's supposed to operate. And when the body starts operating the way it's supposed to operate, guess what? It starts healing itself, right? You get a cut on your body, guess what? That heel is eventually going to heal itself. You didn't have to really do much, and it's going to heal itself. So get your body the right nutrients. Your gut. I have a podcast called I Am Pain Free, and I interview holistic doctors on how to help people relieve pain and discomfort. And most of them say, the health starts in the gut, right? Because the way that your gut is healthy, then the other organs start operating efficiently, and then your body starts operating efficiently. So if you can get your gut health going really well, and then you give it the right nutrients it needs, your body starts processing those nutrients the way it needs to, and then guess what? Your body starts healing itself. And that's what's so dramatic. So if I can just get people to say, hey, if you have a health issue, I totally understand, right? Our food is messed up, our air is messed up, our water's messed up. It's just we live in a really toxic environment. So step back, start getting organic nutrients, organic foods. Go as close to the farm as you can to get your nutrients that you need. And when you give your body the 90 nutrients it needs every day, and you get the hydration your body needs, you don't need medicine, right? You don't need other things, because your body's going to do it itself. Can we supplement it like with Exodus to help you along the path? Of course, right? And that's what I'm trying to do. But I want to help people, even if it's for free. It's like, hey, go do these 5 things, and you're going to transform your life in a dramatic way, right? You're going to say, oh my gosh, it's like if you just do those 5 things free, you're going to start feeling so much better. And then guess what? I can help you with other things that are going to make it faster, right? So anyway, a long-winded answer to your question.
No, it's great. It's good. Where can people where should they go if they want to find out more about you and about the supplement?
I appreciate it. Yeah. So exodusstrong.com is the best place to go for the supplement, right? And the solutions that we're providing people, we're really going to work really hard to give you things that you need to be healthy. That's the most important part. And then Rob Rene, I'm at Rob Rene at most Facebook, Instagram, and others. And so that's the best way to get a hold of me. And then I have a podcast called I Am Pain Free. Check it out, because if you have anybody who has pain in your life, we're working on fatigue as a really big focus of that podcast right now too, which is fun because we talk about, and we're literally going to be doing a masterclass on fatigue, because fatigue is just a problem, right? It's a problem I had, problem my brother had, and it's a problem thousands and thousands of millions, literally people in our society are just exhausted and they don't know why. And I know why a lot of the cases now, because I've interviewed so many holistic practitioners, and it's like those things we talked about early on. It's like, let's get back to the basics. And then when your body starts operating the way it's supposed to operate, the fatigue goes away, right? That nap you needed in the afternoon goes away because your body's operating the way God intended it. So it's a blast.
Back to basics. I love it.
Yeah.
Rob, I appreciate it. It's been great hearing your story. Thank you for sharing it with everybody.
You bet.
I think it's really going to help a lot of people. It's a really interesting time that we're living in right now, especially with the health space. So
yes, I'm so excited.
Appreciate what you're doing,
yeah.
because it's definitely necessary.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. God bless
All
you.
right, buddy.
Appreciate you doing your show, and amplifying people's voices is important. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for being on. We'll catch everybody on the next episode. All right, everybody. Take care.
God bless.